Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I'll return them, I promise. Thanks for coming to play trivia with me. My name's Mike. I run a trivia company called Trivia Tribe. I'm also a stand-up comedian, and this is my podcast. It's called 21 Questions because I'm about to ask you 21 questions. Good-o. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Question 1. In which language does Hola mean hello in? That would be Spanish. Question 2. In poker, a hand that contains a 10, a jack, queen, a king, and an ace is what kind of flush, assuming they're all, say, of hearts or spades, all the same thing? That is that's a royal flush. Question 3. Which singer released the 2006 song Dear Mr. President? That's Pink. A lot of people think that song is called How Do You Sleep? But it's Dear Mr. President, written for one of the Bushes. Question 4. True or false? The stethoscope was invented in 1894. That's actually false. I've seen some very glamorous people walking around hospitals with stethoscopes casually draped over their shoulders, and you think, oh, must be a doctor. Then I found out you can just go to a medical supply store and buy a stethoscope and have all the prestige and kudos without the grubby business of actually having to go to medical school. It's a good investment. Question 5. Finish this quote from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Hamlet. Culture. Question 6. What is the collective name given to the colours red, yellow, and blue? They are the what colours? Now, you can be forgiven for going, are they the pretty colours? Because I guess they kind of are, but they're also more technically, more properly known as the primary colours. Good-o. Question 7. In jazz, was Fats Waller a famous saxophonist or pianist? Fats Waller tickled the ivories, which sounds rude, but it isn't. He was a pianist. After question 7, we will do the first clues for the Who Am I for the episode. Here we go. Who am I? I am a fictional amateur sleuth who first appeared in written media way back in 1930. I was written by a number of authors, but my stories were always published with Carolyn Keene credited as the author. I've been revised constantly since 1959 to remain modern and relevant, and the current version of me drives a hybrid car and has a mobile phone. Dreadful. Okay, more clues for that coming up after question 14. It's a fictional character, a detective. Question 8 is a maths question. I don't want you to freak out. It's not that difficult. What is 11 squared? Well, 11 squared is 11 times 11. And I think most of us could work out pretty quickly in our heads that 10 times 11 is 110. Add another 11 for the 11th one, and you've got 121. And the reason I said before, don't freak out, is I know from running live trivia shows, my business Trivia Tribe does about 450 shows a year, live shows that is, and I know some people just shut down as soon as I hear in maths. They just go, no! It's not that difficult, I promise. Question 9. Movies. Which actor did Gene Wilder team up with in the movies Stir Crazy and See No Evil, Hear No Evil? That's Richard Pryor. Now, Stir Crazy remains one of the most quotable movies of all time. Worth a look. Question 10. Which band had hits with the songs Fat Bottom Girls, Somebody to Love, and Another One Bites the Dust? That's Queen. I would have thought that's a fairly easy question, and I wonder what would happen if a band tried to release a song called Fat Bottom Girls today. I guess it'd be all right. We've got Sabrina Carpenter doing whatever she wants, so maybe Queen would be okay. Question 11 is another true or false. True or false? When the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre in 1911, the artist Pablo Picasso was for a while considered a suspect. All of that is completely true. The Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre in 1911, and Pablo Picasso, because of the company that he kept at the time, was considered a suspect. You see, he used to hang out with a poet called, I think it's pronounced Guillaume Apollinaire. I don't know exactly, but they were known for occasionally stealing things from the Louvre, this Guillaume and his mates, and Picasso used to hang with them. So the police began calling them the Bando di Picasso, and they treated them as a gang of art thieves. Therefore, they thought it was highly likely that Pablo had the Mona Lisa. In actual fact, the real thief's name was Vincenzo Paraggia, and he had previously worked at the Louvre, and he hid it in a trunk in his apartment for 2 and a bit years, and only got caught when he tried to sell the Mona Lisa to an art collector back in Italy. The Mona Lisa was Italian. It was a French museum, and this Vincenzo fella, who was also Italian, thought that the Mona Lisa should be returned to Italy, where she was from. That's how it happened. Question 12. What type of fish has many different species, including streaked, Spanish, spotted, striped, and Atlantic horse? Holy mackerel. Mackerel. Do people still say holy mackerel as an expression? Just jumped into my head then, but I don't think I've ever said it out loud. Question 13. Which city lends its name to a syndrome in which prisoners develop empathy for their captors? That's called Stockholm Syndrome, and it's very real. Question 14. Was Antonio Vivaldi A composer, B, an inventor, or C, a painter? Antonio Vivaldi, he was a painter. He painted my house a couple of years ago. Not really, no. He was a composer. More clues now for the Who Am I? It is an amateur detective written by Carolyn Keene, officially. Who am I? My stories have sold over 80 million books. I've appeared in 5 movies, 3 television shows, and a series of computer games. I was created by the same publisher who created the Hardy Boys, who wanted similar stories but with a female heroine. High-profile fans of mine include former First Lady Laura Bush and Hillary Rodham Clinton. I can't imagine those 2 ladies agreed on many other things, actually. Let's press on. Question 15. What did contestants ride in the 5-day relay race held back in 2008 and called Ride the Lobster? Was it skateboards? Was it unicycles? Or was it pogo sticks? Look, I don't know if anyone's going to know that one. I thought it was a funny vision of all these people racing on unicycles. It was a relay race where they all rode unicycles. Question 16. Which 6-letter word starting with A means capable of producing crops, sustainable for farming, land that can be or is cultivated? Arable. It's arable land. Haven't heard that one since primary school. Question 17. Which Jenner discovered a cure for smallpox way back in 1796? Was it Edward Jenner? Was it Terry Jenner? Or was it Bruce Jenner? That's Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner. Question 18. Which popular book by Michael Crichton takes place on the fictional island of Isla Nublar? Could be Isla Nublar. Every time I say that, whichever way I say it, someone criticises me and say it goes the other way. Does my head in. Anyway, book by Michael Crichton. They made movies on it. It is, of course, Jurassic Park. Delightful. Question 18. Done. Question 19. Still alive or not so much? Andrew Lloyd Webber, composer of musicals, including Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, The Phantom of the Opera, Cats, and a whole bunch of other ones. Is Andrew Lloyd Webber alive or not so much? He is. He's still alive. He's 77 years old. He'll be around for a long time yet. Question 20 is a music question. Is the Mull of Kintyre a real place in Scotland, or merely a place made up for Paul McCartney's 1977 hit song? The Mull of Kintyre is a real place. It's a real place where I think Paul McCartney lived. Final clues now for the Who Am I? Who am I? Since 2004, my name no longer appears in the titles of my books. My stories are now published under the name Girl Detective. A TV series aired based on my books from 2019 with Kennedy McMahon playing me and Scott Wolf playing my father, and my father's name, by the way, is Carson Drew. I say Carson Drew, and that's because I am Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew. Alrighty. That's 21 questions done and dusted, but we now do a 22nd question every episode, and it is provided by you, the listener. When I say you, the listener have the opportunity to send me a question. Most of you haven't. Just going to say it. Not too upset about it, but it has to be said. Most of you have not sent me a trivia question. I have so many listeners. I've only heard from a few of you. Makes me sad in my heart. If you'd like to send me a trivia question, please do. Go to the 21 Questions page on Facebook. I think it's actually called 21 Questions by Trivia Tribe. It's got the same pink logo that you'll see when you listen to this podcast. Send me a trivia question. I will use it in this show at some point, and I will credit you as the person who sent it to me. I would love that. The player question from the last episode came from Glenn from Bribie Island, who asked the question, who has more taste buds, women or men? And the answer is women. Women have significantly more taste buds than men do. I don't know who worked that out or who even worked out that they should work that out, but good on them, I guess. This episode's question comes from Peter from Redland Bay. Redland Bay is a beautiful suburb in the Bayside area of outside of Brisbane in Queensland, not too far from where I'm from. Peter asks, the ultrasound and the bionic ear, the cochlear implant, were both invented in which country? The ultrasound and the bionic ear, both invented in which country? Okay. Well, I'll give you the answer to that next episode. If you would like to be like Peter and Glenn, please send me a trivia question on the 21 Questions page on Facebook. As I said before, I will use it in an episode and give you a shout out. This podcast comes out every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thank you very much for your company, and I look forward to playing trivia again with you sometime soon. Comment if you can on what your score was. Let me know how you're going. Love to know where I'm pitching these questions, if they're too easy, too hard, if they're right in the middle. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. My name's Mike van Acker. Thank you very much for listening. Catch you next time.